How's it going? Today we got a video on Magellan, but it's a bit different. Um, it's gonna be sort of like tips and tricks and sort of like advice, matchups, medal set, sort of what maps he's good on, and pretty much all of that. So, yeah, we're gonna look at his skills first. He's got Venom Demon. Personally, love this skill. Great skill. Does 2% damage for Venom, lasting 10 seconds, which is 20%. That is a lot. And then Chloroball, it's a poison, long poison, which actually only applies to him, Magellan himself. And 19 seconds it lasts, which is kind of insane because even though it does 1%, it's doing the same amount as the Venom in, and it reduces attack. So pretty good. Pretty good. Traits: receiving damage from an enemy, and when dealing damage to an enemy, both 5% to inflict that long poison. And one bad thing, in using skill 1, he reduces his speed by 50%. That does stack with any speed debuff skills, pretty much. Especially Blackbeard, which is an additional 80%, along with that 50. You have your typical 30% from the defender, and his trait is another 30% from 50% or below health, or more than. He is much more safer than most other defenders, because I think most other defenders are higher than that. I know Fujitora is 70% and it's 50, and then Big Mom is 80%, but I forgot what her reduction is. But the one thing that I like most about him is his second trait 1. When receiving damage from an enemy, 100% chance to reduce cooldown time of skill 1 by 5%. And Venom Demon has a cooldown of 45 seconds, and meaning, it's gonna go by very quickly and actually be very useful. Metal sets. I'm currently running this metal set. It is Blackbeard, Moria, Kuma, knockbacks. When you knock back an enemy, it recovers health by 3%. It only applies to one thing on Magellan. It's his Venom Demon. He's got 5 hits on that Venom Demon. The first, the third, and the fifth give knockback. The second and the third do not. Moria, he heals whenever your teammate dies, right here. And Blackbeard is cooldown reduction in treasure. Personally, this set could be better. You could switch Kuma with this character, this medal I should say, Ivan Ivankov if you do have it, 5% damage reduction, and he gives Revolutionary Army. And what does that do? It's a skill 2 reduction. So that plus 7 Warlords makes it 28% reduction, which is really good. It's really good. That and another set is the new Rouge, Kaido, and the 3-star Hawkins. What Rouge does is pretty much what Kaido's medal does, which is 2% reduction to skill 1 whenever you get hit. So it's pretty much this trait, but it's adding 4%. And and for him, I prefer running health and defense over attack, because really don't need attack. It's really not necessary, in my opinion, because you have 20% from the venom, 20% from the poison. You really I think it'd be better just for you to be able to survive and see and be able to help reset the timers on the venom and the poison, which is crucial in my opinion. Matchups for Magellan. His best matchups, my opinion, mostly any runner except for Soja King. Soja King for me, I've been actually doing pretty well recently. I've been killing some Soja Kings one-on-ones because of his Venom Demon. They don't show it, but his Venom Demon can actually block attacks from Soja King. Which is very, very good. He can block both skills. He can block Ace's skill 1. I haven't tested it enough to see if he could block other things. I'd like to test if he could block the Meteor on Fujitora, but I've tested it once. I'd like to test it more. But, yeah. Pretty much good against any runner. He's Rayleigh Sengoku. He's good against Sengoku. I do know that. He's good against Sengoku. But Rayleigh, he's a 50-50. As long as he doesn't get that perfect dodge off, you're good. You're pretty much fine against Rayleigh. That anything but that happens. But some of his worst counters are characters such as Kaido when he's drunk, Red Saba when he's in his Mara state. Who else? Bullet. When you get hit with the tremor, he gives himself an attack boost. Other than that, Cavendish maybe. I haven't seen much Cavendish, so can't really tell. Shanks and Blackbeard though, he does pretty well against both of them. The only problem is with Shanks, the counter, and this traits. If Shanks does get multiple kills, he does get 20% attack, maxing at 100. But the main problem with that is he has to get a kill, which it isn't that hard for him, but for sometimes you can just get your kills stolen and all that. But you kind of need to have at least 40% defense to do some damage against Magellan, in my opinion, with the defense set. But his counter, that's probably the biggest threat, because the demon, that first initial hit, whenever you launch it, it always guarantees damage. As long as and when the demon touches Shanks, it actually activates the counter as well for some reason. I don't know, don't ask me. But you can dodge Shanks' counter with a perfect dodge on any other hit except for that first one, and when the demon touches it as well. Blackbeard. The only problem with Blackbeard is, 1, he does 20% damage to devil fruit users, which we should all know. And 2, if you knock him down, he gets a 50% attack boost, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Which is mind-boggling just to see that, because if you're running max attack Blackbeard and you get hit by a skill 1 and get dragged out of your treasure, that's doing a lot of damage. Even with 3.5k defense, it's still doing a lot. Other than that, skill 2 doesn't do much damage. You can dodge it. Other than that, I usually play like this. I knock them down with the Venom Demon. Very, very handy. And while they're down, I use Chloroball. And why do I do that? Pretty much, it forces your opponent to dodge, or it forces them to take even more damage and lowering their attack, because Chloroball does that. Pretty much, if they do dodge, it does allow you to predict their next move depending on the character. Characters such as Shanks, Blackbeard, they're going to use one of their skills. Shanks with the counter, Blackbeard with skill 2. Most other characters will regular attack, really, so it's just a free sort of venom leak onto them, like free venom effect. Big Mom, I should add, actually, as I forgot about her. Oops. But Big Mom, she, as long as it's a 1v1 combat and you don't get hit by her skill 2, you're fine. Not that big of a deal. Really not that big, unless one of those two things happens. You're in a 2v1 against her and something else, or she hits you with her skill 2. Other than that, not that big of a problem. Like, really, you just gotta worry about characters that have skills that remove debuffs, like Red Sabo and Kaido. But the problem with Kaido is his drunk is like a minute 15 seconds when it's max. So once it wears off, you're gonna be fine because you can inflict venom and poison. You can kill Kaido. Like, as long as he's drunk, you're going. As long as he's not drunk, I should rather say, you're fine. It's such a big difference taking damage from a Kaido that's drunk and a Kaido that's not drunk, because a skill 1 with both defense reductions up is like 14k on my Magellan, and yeah, that's 26k health with 146%, almost 147% support, which is still impressive from Kaido. Yeah. Maps. What did he perform well on? What did he perform pretty decent? And what did he perform bad on? Performs bad on Alabasta Night. I just hate that stage. I don't know why they ever created it, in all honesty. Wish they should just change it. Not really that good of an idea, my opinion. That's all. He does do very well on most other stages. Arlong A is an exception because of the way they put the treasures. You would have to be on their side primarily most of the match for you to be able to do good in your capture treasure, because that is his job, to stay in treasure, to not go out and try to capture. Let your team do the work for you. Like, that's what he is to me. And if he is something different to you, that's how you should play him. For me, he plays like that. A tanky defender that pretty much moves up when they have something captured. But that's going off on a tangent a little bit there. Sorry about that. But he performs really well on most maps except Alabasta Night and Arlong A. Saobody he could perform really well on. You just gotta worry about the Marcos and the Kizurus because of their teleport skill. Sorry. Yeah. Other than that, like, as long Saobody, as I said with that, as long as you stay on their side of the map with the captured treasure, you're pretty much fine, in my opinion. The only problem is if you go to their spawn treasure, which is probably the best thing to do in my opinion, but also the worst. Because say if your teammates can't kill anyone and you're down 4-1, what they're gonna do is try and gang up on you, which, depending on the characters, isn't that bad. But your team most likely won't be able to kill whoever is defending on their side, because you know how it goes in SS. People suck. No one wants to do anything. They only go for kills, no defending. It's just chaos, in all honesty. But with the Kizaru and the Marco, it's just like that. Dressrosa, Alabasta Day, any wide open map that with a big area, Fishman Island you could apply to. Yeah. But in the maps that I just said previously, you can actually do really well. Excuse me, sorry about that. You can do really well, because if you stay in the mid, like Dressrosa, or the mid, like in Alabasta Day, and like you can monitor 2 treasures in Alabasta Day with your second treasure and your mid treasure. He's very good at that. The Chloroball can reach pretty much the whole distance from one treasure to the other. You just have to be out of the treasure a bit, closer to the treasure that you're aiming at, and you'll be fine. Yes, I'm going off on tangents between two different maps, but yeah, you gotta worry about the runners pretty much, because they can just outmaneuver you because you run so slow. But if you do manage to hit them once, it's gonna make it a lot easier. Moving on from that, it is Arlong B as another really good map for him because it's an arrow shape, and that end of the arrow is, I think, Treasure C, if I'm not mistaken. That treasure is very, very good to be on. Because you don't have to worry about being blindsided by anywhere. On that map, in the middle areas from a Shanks, a Blackbeard, any character with a long range skill. Yeah. Baradier Night and Baradier Day. Baradier Day especially is one of his best maps. But Baradier Night, what I like to do for that is stay underneath the bridge, because you really don't have to go up on top of the bridge. That's more of a runner's job in my opinion. But staying underneath the bridge and trying to defend those two treasures is kind of crucial to victory with him, because those two treasures aren't that far apart, which is good for a character like him, being able to control these two treasures for a long amount of time. You just have to worry about your teammates and seeing if they can do their jobs, like trying to support you,